Hi, Alberto. Congratulations on filming this Dora and the search for Dorado. So,
Thank
talk
you.
about the challenges you experienced since you were filming in Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah. I mean, we tried to make it as real as possible, so we literally went to the jungle in the middle of nowhere. And the chance there, obviously, besides the heat and the animals, we had a snake wrangler who would find snakes, every day, but like gigantic snakes. Someone would beat it with a scorpion and also like, but it also it's like what makes it magical, when once you're there and then you see this beautiful jungle, then it makes you respect nature and makes it like an experience for everyone. I think you can feel that in the movie besides the challenge of it all.
Mm. How was it working with the child actors, Samantha and Jacob?
A dream. They're so easy. They're so good, that Sam really is Dora. She is very positive and energetic and always willing to do everything. And then she's also very physical. She used to be a gymnastics and a dancer, so she was able to do a lot of her stunts on her own. And same thing with Jacob. He loved doing the swinging, and then you see in the movie and the fight and all that stuff. So it was like it was so easy for me. Like 90% of directing is in the casting. Once you find the perfect actors, you just have to guide them a little bit, but you don't have to completely steer to 180 to get the performance that you need.
And the use of animation and special effects, I love that. So, how was it training the kids to be able to adjust to the animation and the special effects?
Yeah, it took a little, because they were just acting with like either a pinball or we had like kind of like a puppet that of the size of Boots, so we could get a sense. But like it would be especially for like little Dora who opens the movie. I think for her it was really hard because she was supposed to be like excited and everything, and then she was just looking at this ball, not even speaking back to her. So that was it took a little bit of practice, but I think by the second or third take they would get it and we have someone acting as the voices so they could, kind of imagine it beforehand. Yeah.
What was the most difficult scene for you to do?
Wish. The most difficult scene to me, probably the big set piece at the end, which I cannot reveal a lot of it, but it had a lot of, again, we went completely mechanical and practical. So there's a lot of moving parts that have to come in and out and up and down and like all these things of resetting to be able to put the stuff. That was a challenging one for me because it was a lot of, besides the acting was also very, very technical to be able to pull it off. Yeah.
Mhm. Was there a challenge or difficulty in the weather?
Oof, besides the heat, no, like we got really lucky about the weather because usually in Bogota rains a lot and also in the rainforest we literally went to rainforest. We only got rains once. I don't
Mm.
know how, the gods of nature or whatever it was happening, like they allow us to shoot very smoothly except for one day for a couple of hours, but it was besides that it was great.
Mhm. So I learned also that when you were pitching the story or telling your direction for the movie, you were using AI to show exactly how you wanted it. How was that?
That was interesting. It was my first time doing something like that. So when you pitch it, because I'm competing against other directors to be able to get a job, and I always wanted to share my vision, and I still use I do a lot of like I when I pitch I tend to use like one sequence that I love and then put it in there, and I use a storyboard artist. Like I still because that for me is really hard to do that, but for an image of like how would a realistic, boots would look like or stuff like that, I think that was like very, very useful because you can take that and make it your own. And I think it's a great tool, like it's not replacing anyone because otherwise I would have done it, myself, photoshopping or whatever. So now that we have that tool, I think it's easier to show what is in my head and so people can take it and make it their own. Yeah.
So how has being a computer engineer help you become a better storyteller?
The collaboration, because when you are in computer science, there's many programmers, doing a little bit of a code that has to come together for the program to be able to function. And it's the same thing with filmmaking. Like, you have the DP and the cinema and the custom designer and the actors and everyone is doing their own version of the movie. So you have to make sure that everyone is making the same movie that you wish to do. And I think that really taught me because yeah, programming is like even at home I can screw everything up, you know. So I'm very detail oriented. Yeah.
Mhm. And how was your collaboration with the scriptwriter?
Oh, JT Billingsley was amazing. He was great when I came on board, you know, I when I was researching to get the job, I found this concept called IU, which means working together and that to like every individual is important, but when we come together, it's for the very good. So I pitched that concept to him, and he's like, how do we bring that concept into the script and make it part of, you know, hopefully pop culture? And then he was super open to it, and then he readjusted all the scenes to make sure that we have that ingrained in all the scenes. So I love working with him. Yeah.
Mhm. And you are also a husband and a father of two. So
Yeah.
how was the challenge of like being away for a long time and communicating still with your family?
Yeah, I think that was for sure the hardest part of this whole project. Like I think my kid was he was a baby. He was like 6 months when I left. He was like literally born, and while I was preaching, I literally like got the job. He was born and they got the call like, are you interested in doing Dora? So like you see, but say like no, like new kids bring you new jobs. That's a say in Mexico. I don't know if it's a say everywhere else. And it was true, like as soon as he was born, but it also meant that I had to leave. So it was a lot of FaceTime, and my wife was amazing, took care of the whole family here because it was a little, you know, we couldn't go to the jungle with that at 6 months. So she stayed here, a lot of communication, a lot of FaceTiming, a lot of yeah, sending photos from set. I think that also gets excited for the kids, especially my kid loves watching me on set, so that was fun.
Mhm. And you said one of the best rewards was watching your son watch the movie Dora. So what was his impressions about the movie? What was his reaction?
Oh, he loved it. Like he loved it, and he's seeing it every step. You know, like I showed him the rough cut where there was no boots. You know, there was like still like the pinball, and he was still reacting to it very positively. So that's the reason I knew the movie was gonna be special. And then he saw finally on the screening he saw with everything, so he was like blown away. And he just had fun. I think he just loves to laugh, and I think there's a lot of humor in this. So he responded to that.
Mhm. And lastly, I know you from Delicadeza. So
Yeah.
talk about your days during those times. And did you envision yourself right now that you'd be doing this? Mhm.
Uh, yeah, the Liquidez was a fun. It was like we did it. With Edison, who was directing, I was helping producing that short. But Janet was the star, one of the stars. And I always, I mean, to be honest, it feels the same. You know, like that set or a big studio movie kind of feels the same. There's like people who love the craft and they're all willing to do everything. Obviously, you just have more money, and then you can go bigger. But yeah, I always envisioned doing these kind of movies. Even when I was in film school, I was making like action adventure movies with even my thesis had like a kid lead, you know. So I always gravitated to these stories because that makes me feel I'm still a kid at heart, you know. So I like for me to keep doing this, especially this movie, it was um like the director Leia mentioned, is like it's a perfect fit for me because it has all the elements that I always dream of directing. So yeah.
Mhm. And for your influences, who are your filmmaker influences in directing?
Oh, for sure, Steven Spielberg, who, you know, who would have been Steven Spielberg? Billy Wilder, I love Billy Wilder. He has humor and heart, and I think I tend to be more human, you know, this movie has more human than usually a Spielberg movie has, but like that Billy Wilder, and it could be also dramatic, right? Like we needed also to have a gravity in this movie, and I think I was inspired by that, like the commercial Billy Wilder who can do funny but also dramatic in the next scene. Yeah.
Mm. And it was like a reunion for us when we had the screening with Leia Dizon and everybody else there. Can you talk about working also with Leia and your m- memories of me as your actress?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It was so fun. You know, Leia was my first friend from film school. We were both I think in the nursery, and then we connected with that. And so when it was time for her to do the thesis, she wanted to make a very authentic Filipino story, and I was very excited about that. And so we couldn't. I mean, finding actors in LA Filipino who felt authentic was like a challenge. So like somehow we found Janet. I think she knew, from before, and it was like she was like really hoping you would say yes because you were so perfect for the character. So when you said yes, it was like yes. And then it was, I think you were so fun. Like you were meant to be that person. Even you were like a little different, obviously in real life. You're so nice. She was a little bit more tougher. And then the story's about like she's the one, her daughter to marry. I mean the son to marry someone who's not from the class. So that was really fun. And then you were wonderful. I think you seeing all the movies that you see and then review all the time. I think that helped you like challenge that perfect performance.
Oh, wow. And what's up with you for you next time? What other projects are you doing now?
The hope is like we're focusing still on making bigger and better adventures for Dora. That's the hope right now. So we'll see what happens. And in the meantime, working on other stuff that I cannot say, how it is in this industry. But the hope is to keep growing Dora for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you, Alberto. More power to you.
Oh, thank you, Janet. I appreciate it. I appreciate the interview.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.